Everybody, Captain Lou here with another edition of Tigers Daily, partnered up with the Fan Arch Network. Happy Friday, July the 24th, 2026. Let's get your weekend started. But first, we want to invite you to subscribe, for those of you that haven't, to Tigers Daily here on our YouTube channel. All of the banner that we have back and forth, all of the updates, the good, the bad, everything in between. We talk about the latest rumors with the trade deadline right around the corner, the games the night before or the day before, and of course a little sneak peek on what's on tap, including later on today, game 2 of the 4-game set with the Kansas City Royals. Those of you that have subscribed, again, I thank you so much. This has been so much fun getting to know everybody that's jumped on with their comments. Appreciate the feedback. Appreciate all of you taking time out to watch us. Without you, none of this is possible. Well, as we mentioned, it's a happy Friday, especially in the Tigers clubhouse. This one, I think yesterday, they snatched victory out of the jaws of defeat, I should say. Detroit looked dead in the water in the 7th inning. Randy Dobnak, for those of you that don't remember, I think Detroit is still paying for part of his salary this year. They signed him to a guaranteed contract and let him go. I think they're paying him like $500,000. So how crazy is that when you're paying both pitchers in the contest on opposing teams? Well, that's what it was yesterday with the Tigers and the Royals, and he looked strong. It was a good outing for him, and also for Melton. He had a good outing as well. A little bit of a rough patch in the opening inning. I think he had 28 pitches, got out of a bases-loaded jam, gave up the 2-run blast, though, in the 6th inning to give the Royals a 2-0 lead. And as I mentioned, Detroit just didn't look like they had anything left in them after that big win the night before against the Cubs. But with 2 outs and 2 runners on, James Outman, who would have thought he would have been the hero or one of the heroes last night for the Tigers? 2-strike pitch, deposited one deep in the cheeks, and gave the Tigers a 3-2 lead going into the 8th inning. And again, they gave up the tying run. Anderson wasn't quite that sharp, but then Dylan Dingler, we talked about him yesterday, extend him, do what it takes, keep him in that Tigers uniform. He got the game-winning RBI, a double down the left field line to make it 4-3. He scored Hao-Yu Lee, who got a base hit as well to get the rally started. And then Kerry Carpenter even got on base. Carpenter, 1 for the summer so far as he got to bat. Now, that wasn't a base hit. It may have been ruled a base hit. We'll have to double check on that one. But it was kind of a white knuckler, if you will, down the left field line, as I'm checking to see if they did give him a base hit on that play in the 8th inning. They did. So Carpenter now is 2 for the summer. 2 base hits, that is. But nonetheless, the Tigers hung on for a 4-3 win. Let's talk about the 9th inning, though, for the Tigers. You talk about Weebles wobble, but they don't fall down. That's the Tigers bullpen right now. Drew Summers came in, and if anything was proven in that game last night for the Tigers, Drew Summers is not going to be a closer in a Tigers uniform. I don't know if you noticed. Did you see the look on A.J. Hinch's face when he came out to take the ball away from Summers? Let's just say he wasn't going to ask him where his favorite place to go for dinner would be last night. He looked PO'd. Kyle Finian came in, and I'll tell you, what a play on that double play for the Tigers. What a heads-up play by both Spencer Torkelson and Kyle Finnegan to get that double play. Now, I get it. I think you and I could have ran faster probably than Perez did to first base. But still, what a heads-up play by Torkelson to still get the play at second. And then an even bigger play by Finnegan, realizing that he had to hustle to get over to first base, able to get there in time. They got the double play by half a step, and just like that, what looked like a slow motion double play was probably one of the gems of the night in the major leagues. The Tigers hang on for the 4-3 win over the Royals. Game 1 of the 4-game set. Big win for the Tigers. Now they cut that deficit, as in the wild card chase anyways, to 4 games behind Boston. I know there's still a ton of teams that they got to hop over, but the Guardians dropped one in extras to the Minnesota Twins at home, 3-1 in 12 innings. That doesn't really do anything in the division standings. Detroit, well, they gained a half a game because the White Sox didn't play. So Detroit is now 6 out in the division, 4 out in the wild card. But nonetheless, that was a big, big win. These are the games you got to have if you're going to make any hay, if you're going to try to make any progress to get back for a playoff spot. So the Tigers now, they're still chugging along. Again, as I mentioned, they're now 49 and 54. At one point, they were 22 and 38. So they've gone 27 and 16 since that game against Tampa. Again, now they're 4 games out of a wild card spot, 6 games out of the lead in the division. And, some other contributors, obviously we mentioned Dylan Dingler, Hao Yu Lee. They got another hit from Gleyber Torres. But here's another guy that I want to talk about for the Tigers that I think that they got to keep in the fold, and that's Riley Green. Now, he's been an all-star, I think, 3 straight times. He signed to a 1-year deal, $5 million. Now, he's under club control till 2028, eligible for arbitration at the end of the year. Now, it's pretty much a foregone conclusion. We'll talk about it in a little bit, that Tarek Skubal is going to be long gone. I don't think he's going to be in a Tigers uniform next year. They got to keep the core. They got to keep the core. Now, they don't have a whole lot, as far as in the bats department. I mean, Spencer Torkelson, he's hitting around 205. With runners in scoring position, he's doing okay. He's batting around 350, I believe it is. But we talked about it yesterday. You got to find a way to extend Dylan Dingler. This is the time. Scott Harris, you've got to extend Riley Green. You got to get him under contract, a 6-7 year deal. We talked about it with Dingler. You got to do that. These are the guys that you got to get under contract. Green's having another fantastic year for the Tigers. He's one of the leaders. You got to get him under a long-term deal. Keep him in Detroit. Don't even give it a thought about putting him on the trade block. I know there's going to be some teams calling for him, but you got to keep him. You've got to extend him. Find a way to extend him. He's going to command some more money in arbitration after the year's over. Let's see if they can avoid it, and not just a 1-year deal. You got to keep him in the fold for the Tigers. What say you guys? Now, in the response on yesterday's show about the question we asked, should you extend Dingler? It's been overwhelming, yes. Now, one of the arguments against it was it's really only the first full year that Dingler's done anything, but boy, does he look like he's matured. He's got that sense behind the plate. He can handle the pitching staff. He's got some power. He hits per average. I mean, one other stat I saw about Dingler in the game last night, with runners in scoring position and 2 outs, he's batting .390. I think that's like 4th in Major League Baseball right now. That's huge. And you want to talk about another great stat. Speaking of great stats, how about Kyle Finnegan? I don't know if it's great, but it was very interesting, I found. He has inherited the most runners in Major League Baseball this year. And he came through last night for the Tigers in a big way with getting that double play induced ground ball, which he was a big part of with that defensive play as the Tigers hung on to get the win. So getting back to Riley Green, though, what do you think? What would you do? Would you extend Riley Green as well? I know you've only got so much money in the pie. I get it. But I think the 2 core players that you've got to keep under contract long-term, Riley Green, Dylan Dingler. Obviously, you got McGonigal you've got him locked in for 8 years. But those are 3 of the core because you're going to bring up Max Clark. You're going to bring up Anderson. You got Jackson Jobe coming up. Those are the pieces that you got to keep in Detroit. Sprinkle in some veterans. But Riley Green is one of them that you got to keep. There's just no way around that. We'll take a quick look at the comments a little bit later on, what you all have said about Dylan Dingler as well. So, obviously, with the trade deadline coming up, is Detroit going to be a buyer? Are they going to be a seller? We're not going to take a look at exactly what one person or 2 people Detroit should go after if they're buyers or they're sellers at the deadline, which is coming up in about 10 days. My question to you is, let's say they're in a trading mode. Are you going to trade for now, or are you going to try to build for the future? The only reason I ask is I look at the minor league system for the Tigers, especially in the pitching. Now, at the parent club, I'm fairly confident with what they've got for a starting rotation. Valdez scares me, obviously. That's the exception. I have a sneaking suspicion Flaherty, even though he's dinged up right now, he might be dealt at the deadline. Somebody's going to want him. Somebody's going to want a starting arm. So, but you've got Casey Mize, unless he's dealt, which we're going to talk about in the coming days before the deadline. I'm still on the fence with that. Somebody asked in the comment section yesterday, should we deal Casey Mize? I go back and forth on it. I really do. This is a quandary. You know, and the reaction we've had in the past, it's 50-50 on whether you trade Mize. But Skubal's going to be gone. At least I think he is. So you've got Melton. Montero, I think, is a hidden gem. He's the quiet assassin. I like to call him that. He looked fantastic again. He's going to be one of the building blocks, I think, for the Tigers starting rotation. Jackson Jobe, I know he's coming back from another injury, but he's got a bright future. But I look at the Tigers pitching in the minor leagues, and it's a little bit worrisome. That's why I think if the Tigers deal at the deadline, I think they got to get prospects. What say you? What's your comments on it? Now, obviously, if they're buying, they want to win now to get in the playoffs. This might be a no-brainer question, depending on the mood. Now, I also know that some people think that the Tigers can be both buyers and sellers at the deadline. I don't know if there's too many teams that's going to make that happen for you. Getting rid of Skubal, you're going to get a boatload, either prospects or ready-day player. You know, as we talked about it yesterday, trading with Atlanta. Yeah, I'd like to get Harris. You know, but a point was made yesterday in the comments, and they're absolutely right. I just think that's a lot to ask to get something back from Atlanta. I'll see if I can scroll through the comments, but you know, I think you're probably right. They're not going to give away somebody. They're right in the thick of it. Some of their top prospects, I think they could get. Harris, I just don't. That was a pipe dream, and I admitted that yesterday. So, and again, Fernando Levis, 8847, who chimed in on that. Thank you for chiming in, by the way. I agree, that might be a pipe dream, but I think that's an asking point. It's a starting point for the Tigers. You're going to get so many options for Skubal. But so, with that being said, we got to get pitchers that can throw strikes, and we also got to build the bullpen. Our bullpen is shot. Finnegan's a nice arm, but he's very erratic. I mean, Summers, again, he proved last night he is not a closer. His best bet right now is probably a setup guy, get the holds, if you will, that new stat. You know, as far as a ninth inning pitcher, he proved he's not it. And you could see the look, as I mentioned, you could see the look on A.J. Hinch's face. He was pissed. I don't think you'll see Summers again. He hasn't gotten a save yet in his career. That was his first save opportunity, and he looked nervous out there. Yeah, I know he got the first out. He got the strikeout, but after that, he looked shaky. So I don't think he was ready for the moment. So the other burning question with the trade deadline looming, and I kind of wanted to bring this up. We all we've asked you, A.J. Hinch, is he on the hot seat? We're not going to go down that road. But what is your confidence level with Scott Harris as a GM? I don't think the confidence level is too good right now. Yes, he's done some good things. He's got a couple of things. How Yuli, you got to give Harris credit for that. It was a good pickup. It looks like he's found his groove. But what is your confidence level with Scott Harris to be, let's say Detroit's a buyer at the deadline? What's your confidence level on him getting a ready-made piece in the lineup, maybe a bat for the Tigers to help put them over the top? They're still in it, whether you want to believe it or not. They're 5 games under 500. That puts them in it right now. Or if they're sellers at the deadline, or what's your confidence level in what he can get for Skubal? Or potentially, I don't know, Jack Flaherty. And I think the Tigers right now, if they could, they would probably put Kenley Jansen on the trade block, but I don't think they're going to get anything for him. So the 2 questions that I've got for you tonight, would love to see your comments. Would you do the extension for Riley Green? And how much confidence do you have in Scott Harris, our general manager right now, director of baseball operations, whatever you want to call him? My confidence level in Harris isn't very good. I'm going to be honest with you. I would say at about 25%. So I'm a little worried with the deadline coming up. I don't know. Maybe I'm a little general manager gun shy at what's going on with the other team that Ilitch has in his grasp and his ownership, that being the Detroit Red Wings. But we'll keep an eye on the deadline. It's one of the toughest jobs in sports, being a GM in this town, being a closer, being a quarterback, and being a goalie. So, yeah, we'll keep an eye on that as well. So, again, we want to go back to we're going to tie in our last subject here this afternoon, or tonight rather, today rather, as we transition to tonight's game. Game 2 of the 4 games set with the Royals and the Tigers. Tarek Skubal is on the mound for the Tigers. A defiant Tarek Skubal. I don't know if you saw his press conference yesterday. He's trying to walk back what he said about the MRI and about not disclosing his injury right away in January. He claims it was blown way out of proportion. Do you buy that? I don't know if I buy that. You could see in his press conference, he wasn't real happy with answering the questions. He said it was taken out of context. That sounds like a Scott Boras line right there, what he told him to say. I don't think it was taken out of context. I think he meant it. He's on damage control. He's trying to reiterate that he wants to stay in Detroit through the rest of the regular season. Well, I'm sure he might want to, but he wants his cake and eat it too. He wants the money. There's no doubt about it. He said it on Wednesday. He said that, he should have disclosed the MRI, but he was worried during arbitration. He claims that had nothing to do with it. I don't buy that. He's on backpedal right now. He's on damage control. I think he PO'd some people in the front office. And again, this is just speculation. I've got nothing to go by whether he angered people in the front office. But you could tell he was on backpedal in that little, not really a press conference, the meeting with the media yesterday. So you could tell he was a little upset. Let's see if he channels that on to the field tonight in Game 2. If I'm the Royals, I'm a little bit worried. That could benefit Detroit in the short term. But I'm going to take a look at some of the comments, what you think about Skubal. Ben Fowler thinks it's a potential. He should be gone. Just kind of scrolling down. David Wright doesn't want Skubal to be traded. I want to thank David for chiming in. But then he had a more extensive reply a little bit later on. And Marty Little, 7036. The lack in faith that he has in Scott Harris to get anything for Tarek Skubal is evident. And a lot of folks think that he should have been traded last year. I mean, I know that it's second. I know hindsight is 2020. Maybe they should have. But again, I just think that it is time to get rid of him. And I think that maybe has exasperated it. Today's a big start for Tarek Skubal. I think his days in the Tigers uniform are over. I honestly think they should get rid of him. I think because if they don't, like we said yesterday, and I'll repeat it, I think I've said it a couple of other times as well, all Detroit has to do is take a look at what happened with the Angels and Shohei Ohtani. They didn't trade him at the deadline, and they got nothing in return. Maybe a compensatory draft pick, but big deal. They've got to get the haul. There's going to be teams lined up. I know the Brewers have already contacted them about a potential trade. The Dodgers, they're going to look, obviously, they've got an endless supply of cash. They've got a good pipeline with some ready-made players. The Phillies, the Rays, those are just 4 of them. You can't count out the Yankees as well. Maybe even the Cubs. So there's 6 or 7 teams right there. So, I mean, this is an audition. Not only is it an audition, I think it's going to be something where he really showcases. I hope as a Tigers guy, a Tigers fan, that he channels that frustration, that defiance into a monster performance tonight for the Tigers. I wouldn't be surprised if he gets double-digit strikeouts against the Royals. But Detroit needs it. Detroit needs to keep it going. 4-2 on the road trip, winning the first game last night against the Royals. That's huge. All right, well, that's going to do it. Again, our two questions I'd love to see your comments on. Do you think they should extend Riley Green? Just like, do you think they should extend Dingler? And the other question is, what is your faith in our GM, Scott Harris? Do you think he can get it done at the deadline, either as a buyer or a seller? Love to see your comments, and we will indeed relay them on our next program. All right, again, I want to invite those of you that have not subscribed to our YouTube channel, Tigers Daily, take a moment, hit the subscribe button. You get all the broadcasts that we've had, all the shows, all the episodes, all the banner back and forth. You can read it in the comment section, all the good, all the bad, and everything in between. And for those of you again, excuse me, I beg your pardon. Those of you again that have subscribed, I say thank you. And I appreciate all of you that have checked us out. The viewership has been fantastic. It's growing. The family is growing. The Tiger Daily family is growing. And we're having a lot of fun with it. And we got a lot of fun left to go. All right, that's going to do it for this edition of Tigers Daily. See, you got me all choked up. Have a great Friday, everybody. And for those of you that may not be joining us this weekend, have a fantastic weekend. And again, thanks for taking time out to be with us. Until next time, Captain Lou saying keep your heads up, keep your sticks down, keep your feet moving, and as always, keep your minds open. So long.